He's in it.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can't touch anything.
Which one's the chicken knife?
Yeah, that's a good one to use.
You meant to use serrated for chicken? Someone told me once you meant to use. Oh, I don't know.
I tend to use serrated, but you can use other knives. It depends on what you've got in your kitchen. I'd say that's the best chicken knife in this kitchen.
Right. So I'm meant to be having one and a half chicken breasts, but Co-op, which is where I got this stuff from, only sells in packs of 3. So we're going to use the rest later in the week. But how hungry are you?
Sorry?
How hungry are you?
I'm quite hungry.
And that's enough for... There's one big one or 2 small ones? One small one, I don't know.
I would use 2 small ones
What?
for 2 people. No?
Well, no, that's more. Well, there's a lot of pasta actually.
Okay, we'll just go for 1 then.
I'll go for 1 and a bit more broccoli.
Okay, you can pop that back in there, good. Don't want to leave the chicken out.
Right.
Okay.
So is that, size-wise, is that alright?
That's good. And you know that it will take a lot quicker to cook. So we're cutting it so slim.
It's, what is it? If it's twice as thick, it will take 4 times longer to cook.
Yeah.
So if you want to save yourself time and money, because it will take longer to cook.
Less energy.
Yeah, then...
Cut it smaller. You just obviously have to make sure you can keep moving it if it's smaller.
Yeah.
I would say you have to move it a bit more, stir it a bit more.
So more attention, less time.
Yeah.
Does the length of the strip matter?
I think you want... It doesn't really, no. I mean...
You want them... the more evenly sized they are, then the more evenly...
Well, that's it. I was just...
They'll all be...
You basically just want to try and make them as uniform as possible, I suppose. So that it all takes the same amount of time to cook.
Yeah, I never know what to do with the sort of lumpy bits at the end. They're a bit thicker, but they're not thick enough to cut in half.
Well, I mean, you might want to slightly even out a few of these pieces, do you?
Yeah, they're long.
If some of them are thicker than others, just means that they'll cook at different speeds.
Unfortunately, they didn't have any turkey, but for this kind of thing, where you're sort of using it almost as a supplement or along with other things, instead of just the whole chicken breast, turkey's much better.
Is it?
It's cheaper.
Oh, it's yeah.
It's a lot cheaper, and I think it's healthier for you as well. So for things like this, where it's not, you're not just having a whole breast or something. If you can, go for turkey. If it is cheaper, if the chicken's on offer, then go for that. Right, I can stay there for the moment.
So you've been dealing with raw meat, so you want to probably wash your hands before doing the next, whatever else you next do.
Yes. And you might as well wash the knife now.
I would, yeah, wash the knife now. Also, because if you want to cut other things,
yeah,
I don't know, you can use another knife, but for example, in this kitchen, that is the best knife.
Yeah.
It's a lot quicker to cut with that knife than it is to cut with any of our other knives.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for. There's a few kitchen things that it's worth getting good versions of. Pan.
Yes.
Hands down. Get a good pan.
Yes,
it will last you. And my mum is still using one that her mum gave her 40 years ago, and it's still one of the best we've got.
That's cool.
And we've recently got some knives, like proper butcher's knives, and they're amazing.
Yeah. Oh, a good knife is amazing. I think it halves your preparation time. A good knife.
Yeah. Now, kettle filling. The problem with recipes like this is it never really says how much
water to boil.
Water to boil. It just says a full pan, and I don't really know what a full pan is.
Well, you know that you can take the pan, fill up the pan, and pour that into the kettle.
Yeah, but pans aren't really good for pouring things. It's like, I don't know.
You know what we've got?
Measuring jug.
Oh, you can use a measuring jug or a funnel. And
well, that hole's quite a lot bigger than that one.
What?
The hole into the kettle.
Yeah, but you're pouring cold water, so you can put cold water into the pan.
Yeah.
Pour it from the pan into the...
Yeah, well, I'm saying that that's not doing anything.
Okay, that doesn't help. That doesn't help in this instance. You do, however, have a measuring jug.
Yeah.
So you could pour from the pan into the measuring jug and into the kettle, no?
Yeah. That's nice square. I just don't think most of them don't really bother.
No, most of them don't bother, but then you do end up with the possibility of wasting energy with...
We get overboiling. Which doesn't seem like much. Overboiling is when you boil more water than you need.
Yeah.
Which is often done if you only need a little bit, because kettles aren't that you're into it. Mainly because of the scum at the bottom of the lime scale. But overboiling is actually in the UK, because we do a lot of it for tea.
Oh, that's the tagliatelle ball on the floor there.
That's what I meant when I said ball. Oh, I've got a noodles as well. Is wastes about as much energy as all the street lighting uses in the UK.
What, in a year?
Yeah, per year. So these balls, again, 500 gram packs, but that's fine because they keep forever. We're cooking for 2. You need, it's about 3 balls each.
Do you want this one?
Yeah, it's fine. It's going to be boiled.
It's going to be boiled, so...
That's about 3 balls. So pick the size of the balls.
Yeah. What do you mean pick them though? They are that size.
No, that one's a bit smaller than that one. Like if you're little like you pick 3 small ones, and if you're big like me, you pick 3 bigger ones. You see?
Okay.
Pan. Do we have a boiling pan? Saucepan?
Yes. Well, do you want to get it? There's we have ones in there. We have some others in here. Okay. And do you need to put any oil in with the boiling?
No, a little bit of salt though.
A little bit of salt?
Just a little bit of salt.
If I could make...
That's alright, that's fine. Bit of appetizer.
This is a salt man here.
Magnetic, I like it.
You know, some people add a dash of olive oil just so that they don't stick together.
Yeah.
And did you know that salt lowers the boiling point of the water?
Raises the boiling point of the water.
Does that No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it raises it.
No, it doesn't. Surely not.
Yeah, it does. So you can get it to a higher temperature.
Oh, I've been lied to.
James Hunt.
How come? Okay, interesting.
Because if you're cooking something at if it lowered it, then you'd be cooking at 90 degrees. Because you can't raise the water.
No.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be cooking at 90 degrees.
Yes, you would, because it doesn't go beyond the boiling point.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, you'd be cooking at 90 degrees.
Yeah. So if you lowered the boiling point to 90, for example, then this would stay at 90 and you'd be cooking at 90, which is worse than if you raise the boiling point to 110 and you're cooking at 110, because then you spend less time cooking it. Which is why you put salt in.
I hope you're right.
Is this water?
It's water.
I mean, salt.
Yes. Yeah, it's not coming
I don't
out.
really know how much to... I don't know how much to put.
I think, if you had
have
it
a
in your
lid?
hand, you would put... You don't have a lid that fits that saucepan.
So if you had a lid, I think it's like 20 or 30% energy that you save if you put a lid on, give or take.
Yeah. Why is that then? Because it just contains...
Yeah. It stops the heat escaping. But it means 1, it takes less time, and 2, you can turn the temperatures down. And if you're cooking on something like an electric hob, it's actually quite expensive.
I mean, fire hobs are preferable, aren't they?
Fire
so you
hobs are
can
much
actively see it and turn it down.
Well, no, they just use it has a lot less energy. Like this, the electric hobs, I think, roughly, they cost about 30p an hour per hob or something. Which doesn't seem like that much, but I mean, you're using it for half an hour, and if you can cut that down to 20 minutes, over just months, you're saving several pounds.
So you're cooking your tagliatelle before you've fried your chicken?
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Was it?
Yeah. Where's your pan?
Well, you can take that off the heat already.
No, I mean, it takes a while, come on.
Are you sure? How long does it take?
I don't know if you put the tagliatelle in
I think that
before
should
it was boiling as well.
I think, I think this is one of the last things you do, isn't it?
No, I've worked it out.
7 to 9 minutes.
Yeah, everything else takes not very long at all.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you would put it into boiling water. So some olive oil in here.
Now, does the amount of olive oil, because they always give 2 tablespoons of it, does that actually matter?
Well, you don't want too much because you'll get spitting.
So is spitting just too much oil? Because I always thought that was sort of oil mixed with something. Because it always happens when I have eggs.
Right.
It always spits eggs, and I'm usually semi-naked when I'm cooking eggs because it's early. Well, on camera.
I know, I was thinking, that's for the lady viewers. That image.
I'm not going to do it.
No, I know, just the image.
No, but as in it's very noticeable if you're topless and you've got boiling hot oil spraying all over you.
Sounds pretty cool. Yeah, sorry. It's probably is to do with oil and water, no? As well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But so where's the water? Are eggs full of water? Yeah.
I think you want enough oil so that the chicken doesn't dry out when you're frying it.
But doesn't it leak its own juices? Especially, that's a good point actually to mention about chicken. It's always worth getting better quality chicken. Not because of the premium on things like free trade, but because the cheap stuff, they inject it with water to make it weigh more.
Whoa!
So the huge, super plump, weirdly gross-sized chicken stuff.
Really?
It's not like if you don't care about the quality of the life of the chicken or anything like that, it's still better to get the more expensive stuff.
Better.
Because it's more. Yeah, most of the major supermarkets do that. It may have been curtailed a little bit, but there's a documentary about that, which you can get the link for below. That would be fine.
Okay, now you want to have something to be stirring it with almost immediately. So we'll go for a. Are you going to use that one? Use that one, or you can use this one. Yeah, separate. You want them to be separated, ideally. And this is where you'll see the importance of having similar-sized pieces.
Yeah.
Because, if you do have a discrepancy in size.
This is a sticky pan, isn't it?
Yeah, these are not good non-stick pans at all. You'd be surprised though. Yeah, well, even the pans that are advertised as non-stick, I think it's like you said, investing in a good pan. Yeah,
don't get a cheap one. Because the stuff will wear off, which means you're getting bits of non-stick in your food, and you'll get patches of it. It's just, there are a couple of things you should invest in, even if you don't cook very often, and we're going to be frying a lot on this, because the oven is very slow for most things. This is definitely worth it.